So you guys came back. Thank you. Well, welcome back. If you are new here, make sure you click the likes and subscribe to my channel. If you are old here, welcome back, guys. Welcome back. So today I have kind of a fun video. I decided to do a question and answer because I know I just popped back up on YouTube and you guys were like, who is this chick? Who is she? So I thought it would be fun to do a little get to know me video today. So if that's something you're into, just keep on watching. The first question is, what drives you about life and keeps you pushing forward? It's a good question. Well, in 2015, I lost my dad. He was sick for a while, but it all came to a head in 2015. In 2020, I lost my cousin. She had a long battle with breast cancer, and she fought hard. I remember I graduated in 2000. She was first diagnosed with cancer. So, that's a long road. And she fought every day to be here. And so did my dad. So I knew I could never take life for granted. Once they passed away, I kind of like it lit a fuse in me to be like, these people fought every day to be here on this earth. Who am I to just sit back and just take it for granted? I could not do that. So I made sure that every day I live the day as if it was my last. I make sure that I am doing the things that I want to do because at the end of the day, I hate saying it at the end of the day, but really, truthfully, at the end of the day, when that casket closed, I want to have no regrets when I leave this earth. So that's what keeps me pushing forward and doing the things that I love to do because it's people that left this earth that wanted to be here. Do you hear me? Like literally left this earth that fought to be here. Do not never take that for granted. So that was question one. Whew, you guys got some good questions. Okay, so question number two. Let's see. Who is your style inspiration? I don't really have a style inspiration as one person. It's a couple of things. One, it was my father. Crazy to say it's your father, typically it's your mother, but my father just loved to get dressed. Before he had kids, after he had kids, he wanted his hair in a certain style. He had his clothes clean, crispy, his shoes clean, crispy. He just loved to dress and he loved to just be clean. And when he stepped out, it was just he was that deal. And that kind of rubbed off on all of us. I have two other sisters, and it kind of rubbed off on us that we wanted to be just neat when we went out. Also, I get my inspiration from the women of the 40s, the women of the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, those movie glamour girls that just, you know, it's kind of hard to explain, but they said that they're vanity. They did their hair, they put on their makeup, they just put on their clothes, and they just, walked into a room and everybody just took notice. I just knew when I grew up I wanted to be one of them. I wanted to be a person who was just pristine. Like, what is she wearing? What did she got on? Who did her hair? Where's that dress from? Where's those shoes from? It was also for me because I know they had to feel good. And trust me, sometimes you have those days where you don't want to put it on, but that's where my style inspiration comes from. Like all them girls, like the girls from the 80s, the girls from the 80s. Do you hear me? The 80s, where they was just like rocking all the hip hop wear and all that stuff. Like that's who I wanted to be. Sandra Clark. Sandra freaking Clark. Yes, from 227. Those kind of women. That's where my style inspiration comes. Like the people who just love to get dressed. We must go back to there when people just love to be dressed. So that's my style inspiration. Next question. This is fun. This is fun. Okay, someone wanted to know how I got into photography. Well, I wasn't looking to be a photographer. Not at all. Not in the least bit. No, not what I wanted to do. But when starting a blog, you need content, and it was getting pricey hiring a photographer to shoot every time I had a thought. Oh no! So I said, you know what I can invest in? Me. Let me invest in learning how to do photography. Since I knew this was something I wanted to do, was run my blog. How can I make it more efficient? Let me learn how to shoot my own content. So I've hired a lot of photographers to teach me just the basics of working my camera, YouTube videos, um, getting out here just playing around until I figured it out. So that kind of rolled into me shooting other people's content around Cleveland because they needed a photographer. So I was like, hey, you shoot mine, I shoot yours. And then that turned into, hey, can you shoot my Christmas pictures? Hey, can you shoot my daughter's prom pictures? Hey, can you shoot my, so on and so on and so on. And that's how I got into photography. So it all started because I needed a photographer and my pockets could not handle uh, paying for a photographer. So that's how I got into photography. Well, a lot of people ask me this question: how do I feel about living in Cleveland, and what does Cleveland mean to me? Got a lot of questions about Cleveland. Are you guys trying to move here? You want to move here? But no. So Cleveland, the only thing I don't like about Cleveland is I'll start with what I don't like. But yeah, I'll start with what I don't like. Or I'll start with what I far as being a blogger here in Cleveland, Cleveland is just now starting to bubble on the fashion scene. Majority of the time, I'm usually doing things solo, which I don't like. Like, I really wish I had a circle of creators that I can hang out with and we can kind of like bounce ideas off of, or we can, um, motivate each other to push all our content or, keep tapped in. But a lot of things are so segmented in Cleveland, if that's the word. Like, it's so separated and it's spaced out. So a lot of people don't really know that I'm here in Cleveland. So that's the only thing I really don't like here. It's working. It's starting to get that traction, but it took us some time. And what's funny is Cleveland was known as like a fashion hub back in the day. So I'm glad we're getting back to that. Now, what I love about Cleveland is I never wanted to live in a big city. So when it came to living in Cleveland, it's a small town. It's a small town vibe, but it's a big city. So I just love that. I love that it feels like we're kind of country, but we're still fast paced, but still slow. It's weird. You have to just come here to kind of experience it. So I really like living in Cleveland. I never really pictured myself living anywhere else. A lot of people are like, well, if you're blogging, you should move to like New York. That's just too much. That's not now. That's too much. Too much. Too much. I can't. So that's why I really like living in Cleveland. If I could find somewhere else that's kind of like Cleveland, I would probably move there. But for the most part, I'm staying put. So the next question is, what do I enjoy about being a content creator? And I would say that's inspiring little girls. Like, so many little girls reach out to me and say, oh my God, I see myself in you. And that just like pumps me up and makes me do it even more. That, because I have been that little girl before, you know, so that is like truly what gets me. Like just making sure that they see someone that looks like them, whether it is a dark skinned girl, a black girl, a plus size girl, a plus size black girl, just a girl, period. Just like you see someone that kind of identifies that you identify, and like, wow, she's doing something that I really want to do. And because she's doing it, I can do it too. So that pushes me, like that drives me so much. That is why I wake up on a Sunday at 6 o'clock, get dressed, go out here and shoot when it's hot, wearing heels because I want, or just wearing nothing, wearing just like dressed down clothes. It just that is what motivates me. Is just knowing there's a little girl on the other side of this camera watching it, saying, "So you know what? I see you. You see me. I see me. You see you. That's what pushes me." Someone asked, "Take us through the mindset of Marcy when she's creating." So Marcy, when she's creating, she has to get super, super quiet. And that's stepping away from everything in order to create. Like I have to step away from Instagram, Facebook, all social media platforms. I have to kind of take a step back, get really quiet into myself so I can listen to what I have to say or what I want to say. Because if I don't, my thoughts gets jumbled and mixed up in other people's ideas. And I end up either copying someone, thinking it's something that I want to do, not like plagiarizing, but just like, oh, I want to look like that because she looks like that, or I want to do this because they're doing this. It's just like, no, I have to kind of like take a step back from everything and listen to what's inside of me to see what it is that I want to create. So I know that I'm bringing out my authentic self to my blog. So just know when Marcy gets quiet, Marcy is really, really thinking. I'm a Gemini, so my brain can be scrambled. So I have to really, really, really think about what it is that I want to create. And then once I have an idea formed, I sit with it, tweak it, work out the kinks, see if it's giving me an attitude, whether it's positive or negative, before I put it out into the world. And if it's sitting good with my spirit, then I'll go forth and create it. But like this whole flood of content that I'm doing now, it took me a month of just being quiet in order to know exactly how I wanted to proceed forward. So that's how I create something. It's going into my shell and working it all out before I put it out. So many women, someone asked, so many women are not confident being plus size. Where do your confidence come from? Your drive for others to be confident. And I will say, though I may appear to have it all together online, some days I'm not confident. Some days I'm more confident than others. But both days I just decide like I have to move forward with this. Um, See, I've been shy majority of my whole life, and because of that, I missed out on a lot of opportunities, either to hang out with my friends or to take on jobs or relationships. I was so into myself about my looks, about how I dressed, about how my hair was. I was just all into that, and I didn't want to do anything. And I missed out on so many things. It got to the point where I was just like, look, you have to get out there. You have to. Like, you have to show up because your friends don't care about what you look like. They don't care about your weight. I mean, health wise, but they don't care about your weight. If they do, you need to get new friends. But a lot of my friends, they were just mad because I wasn't there. I missed birthdays, I missed weddings, I missed um just things, just not showing up for these people. And it was because I was not confident, and I was in a dark place. And we could go into that in a different video, but I was in a dark place and I couldn't show up for my friends like I wanted to, or like they needed me to. So I got to the point where it's just like, I have to be there. And by being there, it was putting myself in uncomfortable situations and working through some of my hangups that I did have. So I didn't miss those opportunities. And I am so gung ho on getting other women to that point to where they're not missing out, because I have women calling me like, oh, when I get smaller, I'm going to do this. Or when I get, here, I'm going to do that. And, it's just like, no, do that and work on yourself while you're doing it. Like, I don't want to say it, but it's just like, I'm so passionate because I don't want women to miss that opportunity just being hung up on them, because 9 times out of 10, no one notices. No one notices what you're hung up on. So it's just like, I preach that to my people. Like, get out there, do it scared, because you don't want to get to a point in your life. And I stress this, and I stress this in the last question. You don't want to get to the point in your life and you have more life behind you than you do in front of you, because tomorrow's not guaranteed. So that's why I push for other women. Like, come on, what we doing, sis? Where we going? We showing up. If I gotta come with you to get you there, I will. So that's just that's just me. Like, we gotta do this. We have to live this life. We have one life. One. We live it. We live in it. We moving. We shaking. Okay. So okay. So the next question is where do your love for fashion come from? Good question. Good question. So my first job was working at a local library. Boring. Second job in high school was working at McDonald's. Anyway, third job, I just knew I wasn't gonna get it. I wasn't a fashion girl in high school. I shopped at Gabriel Brothers. I pieced my clothes together. We didn't have a lot of money, so I wasn't walk. I just I just knew I wasn't gonna get this job, and it was working at an urban clothing store here in Cleveland. I walked in. I just got so fed up with McDonald's. I walked into this clothing store, and I said, "You have an application?" And it was like, "Yeah, we have an application." I was looking at the other girls; they were all like dressed from head to toe. My now best friend was in there; he was dressed from head to toe, and I was just like, "Okay." So I fill out the application, and they looked at me and said, "When can you start?" I said, "I can start immediately." And they said, "Well, can you start at 4?" I said, "I'll be back here at 4." I went to McDonald's. I gave them my 2 weeks resignation. I gave them my 2 weeks notice. I went back to New Flavor. That's the name of the store. New Flavor. I went back there and I started at 4 and I got bit by the fashion bug. Like, that's all I wanted to do. Like, just in there seeing all the hood dudes buying all the Rockaware and the Fat Farm, the Sean John, just watching them put it on, looking at the girls buying all the baby fat and the Echo, the Nietzsche, like just being just in that culture at the time. It was just amazing. And, helping them get dressed for their upcoming events that was happening in Cleveland, like making sure Tina wasn't wearing what Shelly had on, making sure Sherry wasn't wearing what Amanda had on, just just in the just being a part of it. I just loved it, and it was something I wanted to do forever, going forward. And then sometimes the owner would let me or let us go through the catalog and pick out the clothes, because they wasn't tapped into the culture like we were. So we would go in and say, okay, this is what's hot now. This is what's coming. Get these shoes. Buy that. Buy this. You know. And it was just nice. It was just like, oh my gosh. So I was in college at the time, and I would just come back every summer. Like most kids wanted their summer break. No, I'll call the job. Like, do I have my job? You have your job. I come work for the whole summer, go back to college. Work, they say, when you get out of college, you should be a buyer. I went to school like, okay, that's what I want to do. So that's where my thirst for fashion came from, just being just immersed in that culture back when hip hop was bubbling. It was on the rise, the rappers were coming out with their brands of clothes, and we were hearing our voices heard back then. So that's how I got into love and fashion. Little history about me right there. Yeah, your girl was up there. New flavor. Man, I love that job. I love that job. Question is, what is She Fly Though LLC? That's what someone asked me. What is She Fly Though? And I really had to sit and think about this, because I could say it's a styling service that I offer. I could say it's a photography studio. I could say it's where you can get styling. You can do all that, but it's my baby. It's something that I birthed. It's a place where women can come and feel seen, heard, safe, you know, safe to tell me what it is that they're hung up on, tell me what it is that they want to do in the future, and then let me help them execute it. Let me help them, guide them to get to where they see themselves in the future. It's a place that I wish I had growing up, where I can go and get the guidance that I needed. Um, Granted, I love that the what I went through got me here. But if it was somebody that can kind of like hold my hand through this process, I wish I had it. And I made She Fly Though somewhere that women can come, a body positive place where women can come and express themselves, whether it's getting styled by me or having a photo shoot. We're gonna laugh, we're gonna cry, we're gonna laugh and cry at the same time, because this stuff is stressful. But I want to take the stress off of women and allow them just the opportunity to see themselves how I see them, or see themselves how they once saw themselves before they got lost in either becoming a mom or being lost in IG and what IG thinks is beauty. So that's what She Fly Though is. Yeah. I just love She Fly Though. I really do. It really, like, I love it. Yeah. It's really nothing more I could say about it. It's just that I just want everybody to experience it, just to as just a pick me up, or sometimes just a recharger, you know. So that's what She Fly Though is. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Oh, but really, thank you for tuning in. It's always great connecting with you guys, talking with you guys, um, showing you a little bit more of me, because your girl went through some things and she was kind of bogged down and really couldn't express myself the way I wanted to. So now that I can, I want to kind of get to know you guys, and I want you to get to know me for who I am and how I once was, and my bubbly and lively personality. So thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. If you have any additional questions, leave them in the comments down below, or you can shoot me a DM if you want to ask me something, but you don't want others to know. Blah, blah, blah. No, I'm just playing. But yeah, so hope you enjoyed this video. See you next time.